Able to see my screen, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So what is type safety in Java? You're aware, right? We are declaring something in Java like integer. We declare just now declared, right? Integer x is equal to 0, right? So this is called type safety. We know for sure that x is definitely of type integer, right? We cannot do something like this. X is equal to 0 directly. It will throw in compile time error, right?
Hmm.
Right, Mithun. So, but you can. It is possible in programming languages like Python and Ruby. I think if you might have tried, this is possible because those languages are not type safe. But since Java is type safe, you cannot do something like this. But whatever we saw in the example, right? And at the linked list, array list examples we saw previously, we are using something like this within the angled brackets, right?
Hmm.
We say it's a list of integer. We say it's a list of string, right? We pass the what is the type of this list inside this angle bracket itself. This angular bracket is called generics. So by doing this in the compile time itself, we will know like, hey, this particular thing is of type this only. We cannot go and add some other value here like that, right? I'll just show a very simple example. Even if you go here in the array list class, so now it will have something like this array list within the angle brackets. E represents element. So if this element can be anything which we pass inside this angle bracket. In this case, it's an integer. Okay, that's only difference. So you're getting it right. Why we use generics? So if we try to add some other value here, it will throw an error at the compile time itself. If we try to add some float values like this, so it throws an error, right? Cannot convert from integer to argument double like this. So to type check everything, here we are using this. Right? So I'll just create a small program to actually check this, or custom program. We'll probably close all these things. Just give me a second. Um, so what I'll do in our custom class also, I can do something like this. Create an element like this, a custom element. So let me say that element which I want, I can declare variables inside my classes, right? E of let's say value and E of size, something like this. Some random elements we declare of type E itself. If you remove this, we cannot use E. It will not know what is that E, right? So we just say it is of a generic type E, which by mentioning it in the angular brackets. Let's test this particular thing itself. Let's create a main function here. So I'm creating an object for this. Let's create without the brackets. Let's see what happens. So it's showing me a warning here, right? So what is that warning? Hey, there's some generic parameter. You haven't mentioned anything. It might lead to an error, right? It should be parametric. It's not throwing an error. Understand? It's throwing a warning. We'll try to add that. Let's say it's an integer, right? Now what happens? I can access these values, right? Value and size. size is equal to 3. Right? gt dot value is equal to 7. Right? So what it will help me to achieve is like I cannot assign any other value to the particular value and size, right? I cannot go and assign dot size equal to some string like this. It will throw me an error, right? So cannot convert from string to integer. So we are doing something at the compile time itself, right? So getting the point, right, Mithun and Anshul, why should we have something like this?
Yes.
Yeah. So it helps to type check everything at the compile time itself. So if you wanted to assign string, probably I can create a new object itself. Instead of string, I can put instead of integer, I can put string itself. I can say gt1. Now, if I wanted to enter some integer here, it throw me an error, right? So now I should definitely input some um, string only, right? So this is an example of how to declare a class as a generic and how to declare its variable as generic. Not only it's a class and variable, you can declare a method argument as a generic as well. For example, public void iterate element. Let's say so. This is one classic example of where generic is very widely used actually. Uh, so to iterate over the elements, right? We don't know what type of elements here. Now we declared a class itself as a generic. It's of type integer here. Now we'll try to create an integer array. Int array is equal to 4 7 8 5 3. So we'll try to do something like this. Gt dot okay. So we'll try to run this program and see what happens. So now it's printing everything here, right? We didn't specify what type of array is this. It's a generic type. It may be anything. Since this particular class is declared as integer, now we have to pass integer array only here. I cannot go and pass something like this, right? It's throw me an error here only, right? Had a cast twins, not a type of integer like that, right? So it's kind of very useful. So if I wanted to say do the same thing here, I can just probably create a array of strings here, right? So now if I wanted to iterate, then I can use this string array. It will take the string as an argument and it will print, right? We are just printing using a for loop, right? This is a example of typical generic argument which we can pass over the method. So is it fine, Ansel and Mithun, what we are trying to do here?
Yeah, but I really want to know कि what is the purpose of this generic test? मतलब when we generally prefer to use this thing.
No, we don't, because see, this particular generic test object can be initialized with an integer also, with an string also, and everything which we declare as generic inside this particular I mean piece of code, it will take that type only, right? For example, if I wanted to iterate and string, I can do something like this. If I want to iterate integer, I can do something like this. So I cannot, I what to say, I shouldn't have to do something like this. I cannot have two methods to do the same operation, right? A string of elements and another method for to overload
Array
this
of
and have a integer of elements. It's a waste of resource, right? I can just do a generic type here, use the same method to do multiple operations. I can use the
Okay.
same method to iterate over integer, same method to iterate over string. So it's kind of giving us that powerful advantage, right? And generics kind of used everywhere. We saw that array list example, right? Array list uses, every collection uses generics, right? Even hash map uses two generics. I can go and declare something like this also, enp, right? This is also possible, right? Just we have to
Okay.
do changes here. Yeah, I have to declare another type here. This is how a hash map looks, right?
Yeah.
So hash, I'll just show the hash map class shortly. So this is how generics work. Uh, and one more thing which I wanted to show before leaving is like, I can have a method which return a generic also. For example, public e, let's say return, or let's say return size itself. So I can have a return type also, something like this, all right? It doesn't have to necessarily be int or void. I can use return type e as well. I'm able to return this size because it is the size is of type e. I cannot go and return anything here randomly here. I cannot go and return null is kind of possible because every object takes null. I cannot go and return 0 here. Right? It will throw an error, or I cannot go and return a string here. It will throw an error. Right? It should be of type e only. What is the type e? It is either size or value. Here I'm returning size. I'll just see, we have set the size as 3. We'll try to test this. gt dot get,
Karthik,
sorry.
say the size is an integer value and value is an string value. So for the generic test, we have initialized integer here, and like one is of string and one is of integer. How would we initialize generic test?
One is of type and integer. No, I didn't get your question properly.
Say here you have initialized generic test integer gt just because size and value are of integer type,
No, 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 no.
right?
It is not of integer type.
So
The size and value is not of integer type. It's of type e, right? Since because we declare integer here, that yeah, size and value converted to integer.
okay.
Size and value can be string also.
Okay,
We
so can
saw
I assign value to a in size? I can give a string value.
that only we gave here. Right?
Okay, 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 okay. Yeah,
We
yeah,
declare the type of generic as string here. We are able to give a string value here.
and if I declare this as a string, and for one gt1 dot size, I'm giving string, and gt1 dot value, I'm trying to give integer value, so it won't take, right?
No, it will take. You just have to modify this thing. For example, I just said you right, e comma t. If you do this and if you just put this as a t, it will accept that,
Okay.
right? Um, let's modify this as t, right? And we'll try to test this, right? We'll create an argument for this. let's put the E as integer, T as string, right? So now what we'll do, we'll just assign that gt dot value as 5 and gt dot size as, you should give a string only here. You cannot give an integer here, medium, something like this, right? I cannot go and assign some value as 4 5 here, throw an error, right?
Okay.
So I can do something like this also if you pass two generic parameters here. So you're getting the whole point. It's very important for type safety actually.
Yeah.
So now if I return size, then it will return medium only. Gt dot return size, it will print medium only, right? This generics is used. I mean, if you're not understanding, you can ask now itself. It's kind of important to understand this because it is used everywhere, right? For example, let's take hash map thing. See, it's use key values, right? And key and values are declared as generic only with two parameters, two generic parameters, right? And whatever operation they will do in this method, they will use this k and v only. See, k is used, and everywhere it will be k and v only, right? See, k and v, it is using here, right? So in testing perspective, I think this is more than enough to understand what is generic and how we are achieving type safety. And if you try to put some other element, what will happen? I think this level of understanding is more than enough in a testing perspective. But we should understand that this is also possible, right? We can pass generic as a parameter at the class level, generic as an object declaration or variable declaration, generic as an argument, generic as a particular return type also, right? Everything is possible with generics also. Fine.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. I think session went good only. At least for Anshul, it went good.
Yeah, right.
Okay.
Thanks a lot, Karthik, for giving such a time.
Okay, no problem. Okay, I think we can wrap up with Java itself completely, and we can move towards Selenium from tomorrow. I'll
Yeah,
touch
that
upon Java a little middle when I'm continuing Selenium with respect to something called parallel streams, and maybe we'll touch upon Java reflections. Apart from that, I think it should be pretty good with the Java for whatever concepts we have covered until. Just practice is the key, I think.
Yeah, my few sessions are pending to read that are pending from my side. Otherwise, matlab, I'm good with that, what you have taught.
Okay, Mithun, Shiva, can we wrap up the session?
You can, I guess.
Okay. Okay.
Karthik,
Yes, Shiva.
just thinking, it's already mid of the week, right?
Mhm.
In case if we can spare other 2 days for like any missed out Java concepts or something, or repetitive collections, like the major concepts, right? You have collections like generics, whatever you said, right?
Mhm.
Or anything is really important for Selenium. If you want to take like repetitive concepts for next 2 days, and if you want to start Selenium on Monday, it's my thought. I'm not sure.
If everyone agrees to recap a particular topic, then we'll try to do that.
Yeah, I feel collections and generics and the rest, the uh, the OOPS concepts, right? And yeah, I think the array strings, like whatever the major things are there, which is mostly used in Selenium, right?
Or we can do one thing. We can have a Q&A session for Java probably tomorrow. right?
Okay.
And maybe we'll start with Selenium once that is over. I think that should be
Yeah. Yeah, I'm fine with anyway.
okay. I think that should be good. That should do.
Okay.
Okay. There are many advanced concepts of Java. I don't think that is needed for testing perspectives for beginning, right? You can use something like this. Maybe I'll show this question mark example. There's something called wildcard. I'll show this. What is that examples? Probably in the next session also. There's use of wildcards. You can use extends keyword also here. For example, I can extend some number, something like I can extend the class also here. So I mean, this is possible, but I don't want. What is this extend keyword is to this particular t we are passing, right? It should be of type which extends a number only. So I can pass only float or double or something like this. So now it's not throwing an error, right? So it should be because this particular float class extends the number, right? So this whatever we are going to give as a second parameter should be a class which extends this number. So we can have some checks here also. So I mean there are many possibilities with respect to generics, but I don't think it's kind of that much needed, at least for testing perspective. Right. I can use super also to say that whatever class I'm going to declare in the second argument, that should be as a super class to something, right? Parent class to something. I can do that check also. So these things are there. Don't think these are particularly important.
Too far for me.
No, actually, it's not important to start with. That's the point.
Okay.
But what I'm trying to say is like, if you wanted to extend your knowledge, and you should know, right, what are the things that is actually available. Right? It's not generics. It's not only these things. There are many more things available to explore. That is it. Fine.
Yeah. Yeah, Karthik.
Okay, I think we can wrap the session, guys.
Yeah, sure.
Thank you for joining.
Thanks, Karthik. Thanks much.